Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Mystic Destinies, and we are on chapter 4 of Takumi's part. Yay! Ah, God, okay, anyway. Chapter 4, Enigma. When we get to the house, everything is so quiet. The grass gently blows in the wind, and the scene looks like it should be a peaceful one. But somehow, it's creepy. It's empty and wrong. I take a few steps toward the house, but with each step my dread only grows. This house is built on the land my ancestors lived on hundreds of years ago. They lived and worked here. They spilled blood here. Her words ring in my mind so loud, loud enough that I almost see her right in front of me. My skin crawls and I hold back a shiver. It's as if I can actually feel the souls of those people here, and all the bad energy that I myself created from what happened. Panic begins to creep into me, crawling and grabbing at me like millions of cold and clammy hands trying to tear me apart. It grips at me, holding on so tight that I'm rooted on the spot. My eyes dart around. Every cell in my body is screaming for me to run. I turn around, about to break into a run for the scooter when when Taku places his hand on my arm. I jump and jerk away from him, panting. An uneasy feeling is in my stomach, making me sick with terror. Takumi examines me, but I can't guess what he's thinking. Whatever you're feeling right now, it's only in your head. There's no danger here right now. I'm with you now, so everything is going to be fine. He moves a little closer. I'm here with you, Inara. There's no danger here. Just take deep breaths and you'll be okay. Taco keeps repeating his words over and over in a soothing, steady voice. Listening to him, I nod and he takes me back to the scooter. I sit down on the seat and slowly take deep breaths until I feel myself calm down a bit. A few minutes pass like this in silence. Only the sound of the wind rustling the leaves and grass disturbs our silence. Do you still want to go in? I look up at him with only one thought in mind. Hell no! But I have to do this. Yeah, I have to. This is my mission, right? Takumi grins under the mask, his eyes the only real clue to that, and nods. It is. We're here because of you, so you should go too. I swallow the lump forming in my throat and set my sights on the house. I hop off the scooter and start walking towards it, stealing my emotions and forcing myself to keep on moving. Step by step. Slowly I start to slide the door to the house open, but Takumi stops it with his hand. Let me go first. With that, he slides right past me and goes inside. As Takumi slides the door open, there's nothing inside but an empty room. I stare at the room and feel myself drawn into a memory. Mother comes in carrying a tray of snacks and some tea. She glides across the room and gently places the tray on the table in front of me. Now we can have our chat a little more comfortably. A voice whispering into my ear snaps me out of it, bringing me to reality. I'm done checking out the place, so you should hurry and look around. I nod, even though I have no idea where to start looking. But regardless, I feel determined to find something. I look through every little nook and cranny that I could find. I did find some weird flasks, some empty and some still full of something that I wouldn't even know how to begin to describe. There were many books and languages that I couldn't recognize, and an old pendant with the main jewel missing. I sigh. I found plenty, but at the same time I found absolutely nothing. I sit on the floor and lean back against a scroll on the wall. A tiny thud catches my attention. I look down to see that an envelope stuffed with papers fell right next to me. What the... Takumi looks at me, then at the envelope on the floor. Cool, you found something. Nice job. I grab the envelope and quickly open it up. I pull the stack of papers out and begin to sift through everything. I'm deeply absorbed in my task when Takumi speaks in an oddly cheerful voice. I thought there was someone here. What? Confusion and then an overwhelming sense of fear creeps over me. I look up to see a hooded man standing there, totally different than the other one. He grins and a pair of very sharp fangs glint in the light. I jump to my feet and back up against a wall. A vampire? That's a vampire. A vampire! What in the hell? How? Vampires They're real? Even though I'm looking right at one, I can't bring myself to actually believe it. A vampire, a real freaking vampire, is right here in the same room. The vampire speeds toward me. All I see is him disappear in a flash of black. I feel like screaming, but no sound comes out. I can't move. Before I realize it, Takumi is in front of me, a dagger already at the vampire's stomach. Then he jerks the dagger out and stabs him in the shoulder as well. I gasp at how the scene unfolds. I can barely believe the violence occurring right in front of me, especially from Takumi. As if ignoring the stab, the vampire only grunts and rips out the dagger. Blood spills to the floor and Takumi darts forward to grab his weapon. The vampire almost catches him, but Taku rolls out of the way just in time. Taku yells behind him, "Inara, are you gonna do something?" But I can't move. I can't react. I'm completely frozen in place. The vampire lunges for Takumi in a rage, but Taku dodges him. Then a deep female voice rings out through the room. "Stop!" The vampire immediately stands up from where he had fallen, as if at attention. Ooh. I look behind Taku to see a gorgeous woman walk in from the hallway. It's as if she coalesced from the shadows themselves. Ooh, sexy. She looks at Taku, then at me. Everything about her screams, "Danger, run." I like her, though. She seems cool. Her eyes stop at the vampire for a brief moment, and then quickly fall right back onto me, this time with much more interest. She begins to speak with a light accent in her sultry voice. "Well, well, how fascinating. You look just like her. Who are you, and how are you related to the woman who owns this house?" I hear myself sharply inhale. "Who are you? And how do you know my Shizuka?" Takumi silently moves to stand closer to me, but his eyes never stray from the strange woman. "Why would I tell you that? I'm the one in control here. Only I can ask the questions." She eyes us suspiciously. She seems to be considering what to do with us. There are so many characters in this. Like, usually there's only like one or two extras aside from like the ones that you know. But like, there's so many new people in here. She looks at the papers in my hands. "What are you looking for here?" "Why the fuck should we tell you?" "Maybe I can help you. If you can help me." Yeah, sure, that's believable. I open my mouth to tell her as much, but Takumi cuts in before me. "If you tell me what you're looking for, I'll tell you why we're here. Or we can just fight." Taku shifts his stance, just slightly, readying himself for a fight. The woman stares at him for a few seconds before suddenly chuckling. "Fine. I'm looking for something the woman who owns this house owes me. You'd know right away if you saw it." "Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Do you always trust this easily?" The woman pulls a large gun out. As she aims it towards us, Takumi throws some strange flask on the floor. The flask shatters upon impact, creating a thick fog like a cloud. I can hear coughing and swears, and I feel myself being lifted up. Takumi throws me over his shoulder and runs the hell out of the house before the fog can lift. "Takumi just threw you over his shoulder. That is so sexy. Super strong." I'm like, I'm swooning. I should be worried about my life, but fuck it. Takumi puts me down and we run through the field in a mad dash. My lungs feel as if they're on fire and my legs feel like they'll give out right under me. The only thing that keeps me going is Takumi dragging me along after him. We reach his scooter and quickly get on. Wasting no time, Takumi starts it up and we ride off into the night. We don't speak until we get back to Aurelia's place. Somehow, it doesn't feel safe until we're inside. We practically collapse onto the couch from exhaustion. Takumi sighs and looks at me. That woman is the right hand of a vampire mafia family known as the Akuras. Her name is Azucena? Azucena? Del Bosque, and she's an incredibly dangerous demon. What? Demon? First there's vampires, and now there's demons? How? Takumi nods. Demons are said to be descendants of fallen gods. They live in a different realm than ours. Personally, I think vampires are much worse than demons. Just the process to become one is hellish. Ever curious, despite my better judgment, I decide to ask Takumi. How does one become a vampire? Is it like in movies? Maybe you should just, not sound so stupid. But I mean, I guess it's because they're not, how does one do that? Because I'm assuming movies are telling lies. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I just feel like she could have asked that. Like, is it like in the movies? The victim has to be drained of blood until they're near death. Then the vampire injects their venom. Victims report feeling ecstasy, followed by burning, boiling, searing pain. The heart goes into overdrive. Some victims say it feels like their heart is actually being crushed. It's nasty business. It's a big part of why humans and other supernaturals hate vampires. So it isn't uncommon for them to be together, like how Azucena is part of the Akuras. Azucena? Azucena? Azucena. It's going to be hard to say Azucena. Azucena. Like, it doesn't quite, I mean, it flows, but yet it sounds awkward. I don't know. I see. And she knew Shizuka well enough that she owed her something to her. Just what kind of dealings did Shizuka have with her? What could she have been doing? I don't know. But I promise we'll get to the bottom of this. For now, you should get some sleep. I nod and manage to force my weary body off the sofa. Takumi immediately lies down where I was sitting and stretches out. I look down at him, looking so innocent with his eyes already closed. I try to reconcile what I'm seeing now with the man I saw earlier. But I vividly see Takumi pushing that dagger into the vampire's stomach with no hesitation. I open my mouth to say something. Feels like I should say something, anyway. But I don't know what to say, so I close it. Takumi's eyes open, looking at me curiously. He's so fucking cute. Thinking about joining me again? Ew, no! Ew, no! That's just so wrong! It's about something else. I want to be like, hell yeah! It's about something else. Well, I was just wondering, is it about what I did earlier? I give a little nod, rubbing my arm. I just did what I had to do to protect you, you know. Feeling ashamed, in a small voice I say, I know. As I turn around, I can't forget how hurt Takumi looked. And I have to wonder what I did to deserve such a good friend. Just go back and fucking kiss him, would you? But isn't it possible that Takumi really does want more? Knowing that I can't focus on anything else right now, I shove the thought out of my head. If it comes up, I'll deal with it then. Girl, you know it's going to come up because he's been in love with you for like 4 other plot lines. Well, he's the 4th one, so 3 other. With those gloomy thoughts for company, I head to my room to sleep. Huh. Where am I? I blink several times as I look up at the unfamiliar ceiling. Unfamiliar ceiling. That just sounded weird when I said it. Slowly, sleep leaves my body and I remember yesterday's events. I roll over and grab my phone. I squint as soon as I unlock it, blinded by the overly bright screen. Ugh, why is it always so bright? 3 a.m. The tiny numbers stare back at me from the phone screen. My stomach growls and I sigh, rolling back onto my back. I stare up at the ceiling. My sleep schedule is completely destroyed now. But what does it matter anymore anyway? Not like I've got school to go to, or a job or anything. Oh wait, I forgot to officially withdraw. I sigh again. I'll have to do that later. The longer I lay in bed, the more I realize that I won't be able to fall back asleep. My stomach practically screams in protest, and I know that I have to give in and go look for something to eat. I wonder if I should get up, though. Taco is sleeping out there on the couch, so what if I wake him up? It was nice of him to take the sofa, even though he's obviously known Aurelia longer. And it was nice of Aurelia to get me some pajamas. I looked down at my tank top, grateful that I didn't have to sleep in my clothes another night. The pajamas had been on the bed when I stumbled into the room. They've both been so kind to me, I wonder how they met anyway. My stomach growls and I realize that the smell of something cooking has been permeating the air. Oh, maybe that's what woke me up. I sit up in bed and see that there's light coming from under the door. So someone's up then. With that thought, I get up to investigate. I love how she's so little! She's so little, like a little munchkin. Like, everybody else has been roughly the, like, height, but she's so little! Fucking love it! She's little, like a little piece of candy. I just want to pop her in my mouth and eat her. I walk into the living room to find Taku, now in normal clothing, sitting cross-legged on the sofa. Aurelia is talking to him, all curled up in the chair. Both sit with plates of food in their laps, the dining room table completely ignored. I feel like I've interrupted some private talk between 2 old friends. I feel a little shy when their eyes land on me. Hey, you're up early. Food's on the counter if you want some. Thanks. You're one to talk. You just got in, didn't you? The two continue chatting, and I shuffle over to the kitchen. I start rummaging through Aurelia's cabinets to find a plate. There's so many cabinets here. Maybe I should ask her which one. I'm about to do just that when Taku and Aurelia's conversation turns to a topic of interest. You're not going to believe this, but I saw her. I saw Azucena. Aurelia stops eating for a moment and stares at Taku. At Anara's mother's home? Taku nods. She said she was looking for something. What did you do? I got us the hell out of there. I know I can't handle her. Good man. So it sounds like she has a connection to the sorceress then. Aurelia continues chewing thoughtfully, and I realize that I found the cabinet with the plates. I grab one, walk over to the counter, and begin spooning some of the food onto it. Eggs with salsa, I'm guessing? My mouth won't stop watering at the smell. Then, when Aurelia begins talking again, I'm instantly drawn back out of my hungry thoughts. Then you'll find this little piece of information useful. I was going to tell you anyway, since I think it'll be useful for your Yasu case. Yasu case? I glance over at Taku, but his eyes remain locked on Aurelia. He looks so serious and tense that I decide to wait before asking anything. Feeling the tension in the air, I wait where I am quietly. I've heard this tidbit for a while, but I wanted to make sure it would grow into something you could use before I told you. There's a growing faction of vampires within the Okura Mafia that are planning to rebel against Azucena. They call themselves the Silver Dogs. They seem like they're getting pretty organized, and they might be a good starting place for info. Is that so? This may be a good time as any to step in. I walk to the dining table, sit in the chair facing them in the living room. But if I can ask, what does this have to do with Yasu? The pair look at me. The silence between us draws on, turning awkward. I wonder if I was okay in asking that. But he was my friend too, and Taku hasn't mentioned him once. Okay, so that's who Yasu is, because she mentioned him in other parts, and I just didn't know who it was, and he kind of glossed over it. So Yasu is a friend. And that's probably the guy that will be the love interest for Aurelia in Echoes. The guy that we meet in Takumi's path. I'm gonna guess. Just gonna guess. Did something bad happen to Yasu? Is he alright? Takumi and Aurelia both look away. Takumi then sighs and looks back to me. No, he's not okay. I gasp. Why? What's happened? Taku begins his story as Aurelia looks on. 3 years ago, the day you left, while on the job, Yasu was attacked by someone. 3 years ago. She only left 3 years ago? So she left when they were teenagers. So it's like, how does she, not recognize him? He should look exactly the same. It's only been 3 years, not like, I left when I was 6 and now it's 13 years later, where, I can understand it. I don't know. Someone I believe may have been a vampire. He was critically injured as a result. He's been in a comatose state since that day. I rest my hand over my anxious heart. Okay, maybe he's not. My God, he's been in a coma? For 3 years? Taku nods. Yeah, and I've been looking for the person who did it ever since. No, Yasu. He used to always be so kind to me. He always looked after us. He was so cool and confident. Of course, I was so young, I couldn't help but admire him for it. And as time passed, I thought I was in love. And now he's... I look at Taku. Oh, this is someone she had a crush on. Okay, interesting. Why didn't you tell me? All this time, I was thinking he was alright? I didn't see a reason to change that. There was no reason for you to know. No reason for you to suffer through knowing when you can't do anything. Isn't it kinder to just let you go on as if everything is still okay? Taku's voice falls to a whisper. Sometimes I wish I didn't know. A silence falls in the room as tears drip down onto my food. Taku's quiet voice is all that breaks it. On the day you left, that's where I was. I had a bad feeling about Yasu and I went after him. When I found him, I saw a woman with long black hair. I can't remember her face, though, for some reason. But I think that woman might have been Azucena. Azucena? The leader of the Mafia. Why would she have been involved? Taku avoids my eyes. She may have been involved with Yasu in some way. I can't say the specifics yet. I've been working this case on the side for the past 3 years. But it's tough because everyone who was directly involved with it disappeared a long time ago. All this time, he's been training, working, going to school, and working on this case too? That must have been incredibly difficult. But it says, I did it. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled. I had no idea that anything was wrong, so I was just shocked. But that's no excuse. I'm sure you've been through hell with this. Taku doesn't say anything. He just looks away. I think for a moment and then continue. But still, I'd like to see Yasu, if possible. Taku gives me an inscrutable expression, and I feel myself tense as he stares at me. I begin to wonder if I've done something wrong before he gives an awkward smile. I feel the tension leave my body, and the atmosphere in the room immediately lightens. Wow, I never realized just how big of an impact Takumi's smile can have on my mood. Sure, but I'm kind of wiped out. Not used to having missions back to back. I'm sure you feel the same, so maybe we should take a break tomorrow. I need to go back to my apartment, get some things, handle some other stuff. And then we could go see him on Thursday or Friday. A break? I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you're right. I'm sore all over and tired. There's just been so much adrenaline lately. Yeah, I can't say you get used to it, but it does get easier to deal with. Taku stands up and yawns. Inara, I'm tired of sleeping on the couch, and you seem pretty rested. So I'm taking your bed, okay? Good night. What? Taku puts his plate in the sink and waves goodnight. He then promptly walks to the guest room and shuts the door. A tinkling laugh comes from somewhere in the room, and I'm surprised to see it's Aurelia's. He's not really what you call a gentleman, right? I admit I'm surprised he ever gave you the bed. I like that about him, though. Do you? Aurelia's voice seems just a little too amused to me. Not like him. Not like. Not like. Whoever said you did? That's right. But if you did, he'd be pleased. I don't remotely know what to say to that, so I just cough and clear my throat, which of course sends Aurelia laughing again. Well, I'll be gone on a trip with Pax for a few days, so you can have my bed if you want. Just wash the sheets after and I won't care. Oh, and no sex in it, please? I immediately shake my head. I really seriously doubt... No, that won't happen. So thank you. Desperately, I try to change the subject. So have you known your friend Pax a long time? Yeah, many years. Longer than you've been alive. She's an interesting sort. Wow, really? You look so young. Is she like you then? I'm a sylph. We come from Avalon. Pax does too, although I didn't know her then. They call her Pirate Queen Pax, actually. But while she may look the part, I can tell you that woman's no queen. It sounds like she's really fond of Pax. She sounds really cool. I'd like to meet her one day. Aurelia shakes her head. Be careful what you wish for. She's a force to be reckoned with, always dragging me into this or that. She sighs. But she has a good heart, mostly. Oh, that reminds me. Aurelia hops up lightly and I realize there are tiny semi-transparent wings on her back. A little gasp escapes my lips, but I don't say anything. So sylphs have wings like that. That's so cool. Aurelia goes and grabs what seems to be a heavy bag from by the door and comes to stand in front of me. Pax and I both gathered up a bunch of musty old books we had lying around. They were from our adventuring and whatnot that we never got around to selling. Can't guarantee anything about them, but they're magical texts if you want to take a look at them. They're even in human languages. Most of them anyway, I think. Aurelia places the bag next to me. I immediately reach into it to grab a heavy old tome covered in dust. I rub the dust away, revealing part of a word. Necro... Curiosity mixed with fear runs through me. But most of all, excitement. I look up, beginning to speak. But the door across the hall closes, and I realize that Aurelia is already gone. I shrug. Oh well, I'll just have to thank her properly tomorrow. I pull out the books and spread them on the table, carefully looking over each one. I love books, but I haven't had time to read any in ages, so I'm kind of excited to read something again. A small voice in the back of my mind whispers that I could read a lot more if I didn't drop out of school, but I ignore it. I pick what seems to be the most innocuous one, titled Magic and You, a complete and speedy guide to the beginning of a new you. I settle in on the sofa with the book and finally begin to eat my cold food. For the remainder of the night, I read until I pass out where I sit. Respite for the wicked. Woo! This is getting good. Okay, anyway, so, yeah. I love this one so much. There's so much to it. There's so many characters. There's so much going on. Holy crap. Oh, cool. Yay. I just got a cha-ching from Etsy. I'm very excited. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.